90's was not known for great cars. Buying and selling cars in the 90's, the 80's was great fun with vintage cars. Not too much late model. I really didn't bother with them. But the old cars, they were great. Business was really good then. From 1975 up, the cars got bad. Emissions, all the rules and regulations and everything. And they priced them much higher because of that. And they weren't any better than they were before. My guys have put together a list of cars for me to look at, late model. Some of these cars I sold, and I'm supposed to guess the cost of the car new, which I have no idea, and what it would sell for now. I get the feeling that a lot of these cars are worth nothing. They're just turds. Here we go, back to the 90's. The music wasn't bad, but the cars were. Dodge Intrepid, 4-door. They built these cars to fight the market against Japanese cars. They didn't win. These Intrepids were terribly unreliable. Really not a good car. In the classic car business, do I see any of these cars for sale or available? No. Nobody cares. I guess back then it was probably a $12,000 or $14,000 car. It's probably worth $500 to $800 now. Actually, the Model 30 Dodge, way back in the 20s and teens, was one of the first steel-bodied cars. And now your Dodges are known for the Challengers and the Chargers and muscle cars, which really made that company a serious success. The Dodge brothers, may they rest in peace, would probably be upset with what they built in the 90's. This is a Dodge Neon. Neon has 4 letters. So does Turd, because that's what that car is. These cars were featured as first cars for people back in the 90's. Young kid would get a car, he'd be safe and economical, he'd buy one of these. The Neon was made to be cheap, and it looked cheap. It was a turd. I wouldn't have this turd on my lot. It's embarrassing. I imagine back then it probably sold in the low to mid 3,000s. I don't think it's worth $300 today. Oh, the Dodge Avenger. What a beautiful turd. Absolute piece of junk. There's just no value. I don't sell that kind of car. I don't buy that kind of car. They're just nothing. This car had the worst of both worlds. It was inspired by Japanese ugly cars and ran ugly as well. This Dodge Avenger is such a nothing car that if I had it on my lot, I'd probably get $1,000 or $1,500 for it today if it was nice. Oh, there it is, Soccer Mom. That's a Dodge Caravan. That is a piece of duty. That is really something. Why would you possibly buy that car? They killed the station wagons that I like. They even featured wood paneling on some of them. It didn't help. I would think this car was mid-teens, somewhere in that range. Now it's mid-teens as well. It's probably $1,200. But back then it was probably 15, 16 grand. If I had this car on the lot and it was nice, I'd probably ask between $2,000 and $2,500. Now here's a change of pace. Dodge Viper. Those are beautiful cars. They're fun to drive. They've held their value. The Viper is an iconic American sports car that was really hitting it in the 90's. Back in the 90's, young men would have posters of this car. This was a dream car. I think this car, when new, was bringing in the low 50s. I think it'll bring that or more today. I've had a lot of these Vipers. I probably had 20, and I've never lost a dime on any of them. They're strong, they hold the market, they still do. Dodge Durango SUV. How beautiful is that car? You know, a nice family SUV. What I like about SUVs is they basically killed minivans. You know, back in the 90's, people wanted to get these bigger family cars. They could put 4 or 5 kids in there and go around and travel. The Durango was good for that. They were pretty powerful cars. The only thing they couldn't pass was a gas station. I think the Dodge Durango back in the day was mid-20s, somewhere in that range. If I had that car on my lot now, $3,500, something like that. Here's a Dodge Ram pickup, and I've had a lot of them, and I just really like a Dodge. They're great trucks. I'm really a Dodge guy when it comes to pickup trucks. They're good, real good. These Dodge vans were marketed to construction companies, workers of all kind, because that was a dependable truck and you would get the job done. Dodge pickups are so popular. You got the Chevy Silverados, you got the Dodge Ram. When I have an older pickup on the lot, as long as it runs good and is relatively clean, it sells $5 grand, $7,500. You can sell them all day long. People need them. The older pickups, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, they're all popular. I can't keep them on the lot. They just go. You could buy one of these in the mid-teens, 15, 16 grand. If I had a pickup truck like that now, it would probably sell for 75, 8,500, maybe more. They hold their value. I've had so many Jeeps, colors, sizes, ranges, the 40s, the 50s, whatever. The last Jeep I had was Pelican Puke Pink, and I bought it for almost nothing. A guy was getting divorced, and it was the last thing left of his marriage, and he wanted it gone. Good, bad, or ugly, they all sell. The Jeeps are so popular, any open Jeep will sell. You know, Jeeps were originally World War II Army vehicles, and they were so popular they kept making them for the public. And they still make them, and they're still good. They're great cars, they hold their value, and they sell. I sold like 3 of them this week. Jeep buyers that really love the Jeeps, they keep buying Jeeps. And young people that want to take it off-road and have fun and go in mudding, paint them, they accessorize them incredibly. They don't care about the money, they just make them insane. Around 1990, you could buy a car like that around 10 grand, which is what it's worth today. I think that you'd buy it for 10 then. If you had it today and it looked as good as that, you'd probably get 10 back for it. There you see a forgotten car, and it's good it's forgotten. It's an Eagle, which is French for no one wants it. Chrysler wound up owning Jeep and Eagle. They did good with Jeep, not so much with Eagle. Nothing car. Gone now, thank God. The 90s cars, for some reason, were almost always painted ugly colors. They weren't nice. They weren't something that would catch your eye. Probably that car probably sold for 8 or 9 grand new, and that was too much. If I had it on my lot, I would probably just junk it. When you drive off the lot, you lose 50%. With these turds, you lose 90% when you drove off the lot, because they were horrible. The cars of the 90s were not great. I enjoyed being a classic car dealer. Those are not classic cars, other than the Viper. If you want to see more of these turds, I can't help you. But if you want to see more classic cars and have fun, you can watch my show, South Beach Classics, on Chopper Town or on the Beach Channel. This was painful to watch. All I kept seeing was turds and cars I don't want to ever see. The only car that was nice and had a value and holds its value is the Dodge Viper. Other than that, turds. They're ugly. They're just ugly.